Hi guys, welcome back to Digitalks with Tracy. We are now on episode 8, and in today's episode I'll be talking about all things engagement. I will start by defining what engagement is, or rather what it means. I will give you guys the different types of engagement with examples, and then I will talk about the different ways you can generate engagement on your platforms. And I'm talking about digital marketing platforms. And finally, I will give you guys a few tips on how to measure the value of the engagement you are getting on your platforms. I'll start with the definition, and there are two different ways to define engagement. The first example, by the way, as usual, I have my laptop with me, so I'm going to be reading the definitions from it. The first example, or different ways to define engagement. The first one is, engagement is a phrase that is used in marketing to describe any sort of interaction with content. I'll repeat that. Engagement is a common phrase in marketing that describes any sort of interaction with content. Now, there is another definition of the word, and it says engagement can be referred to as user interaction. What does this mean? This means that person A interacted with person B, and person B interacted back. So the difference between these two definitions is that the first one is more inclined towards content, someone engaging with content, while the second definition is about interactions between two people, or more than the two people. So that's the difference between the two definitions. However, they are both correct. Now, regardless of how you choose to define engagement, the way I see it is that engagement is a commitment, and this goes both ways. The person that starts the conversation or is trying to connect with the other, and how the other person responds back. Now, what do I mean by engagement is a commitment? Let's think about the literal meaning of engagement, or the one that majority of us know. It starts by planning. You plan when you're going to propose to your partner. You plan what ring you're going to give them. You pick a venue and you pick a date. The day arrives and you are at the venue. You put yourself out there and you propose. Now, the person on the receiving end has two choices. They will either say yes or they will say no. If they say yes, then it means your mission is a success and you both commit to keep the relationship going. Should they say no, then it means that you either have to go back to the drawing board, maybe you picked the wrong timing, or the person was nervous, or at the end of the day, there's a commitment on both ends, and it's also a give and take situation. So when you think about engagement from a marketing perspective, you should always consider that both sides are committing, and both sides have the option to either keep it going or to not engage at all. Because I do get a lot of complaints from some of my clients that they've put up a post or a piece of content, or just generally on their page, they're not getting that much engagement. It might not necessarily mean that you're doing something wrong. It could mean that the person who's viewing your content was not inspired or motivated, or there was no emotion that was sparked, or maybe the engagement is happening offline. So sometimes you might be too demotivated by the engagement metrics on your digital platforms, while you should be thinking of engagement as a more meaningful interaction. So I'll give you guys the different examples or the different types of engagement that I have seen on digital marketing platforms. And I've done them in a very unique way. What I will do is I will mention what it means, and then I'll give you the examples of engagement signals. So the first one is, you have my attention. Now, for someone to tell you, the brand or the person who's posted the content, that you have their attention, they will either click on the post that you've put up, or they will click to view your page. Maybe they've seen one piece of content and they want to see more, or they will visit your profile. So these are examples of engagement signals that tell you you have my attention. The second one is I enjoyed this, or I found this relevant. So the examples that I can give here is someone reacting to your content. Maybe they liked it, they loved it, they laughed at it. Different platforms have different engagement signals. Some have reactions and some are stuck with just one, where you can like the post. Another example is when someone chooses to save your post. So they probably were not able to view it fully if it's a video or a long piece of article. Maybe they've saved it so they can refer back to it later. So that is a good engagement signal that tells you either I enjoyed this or I find this relevant. Another good example is someone choosing to follow your page. So they click on the follow button or they like your page. These are good examples of engagement signals that tell you I enjoyed this or I find it relevant. The third category is I'm interested, but I need more information, or I need some convincing. So what engagement signals fall under this category? The first one is website visits. When someone clicks a link or a button on an ad that takes them to your website, whether it's a blog or a landing page for a campaign, as long as they chose to click on it, they are interested and maybe they want to learn more or they need a bit more convincing. Another good example is when someone goes to a search engine like Google and types the name of your brand or searches for something that's that you said. Or something that will give them more information about your post. Another example is when somebody chooses to watch your video from start to finish because they want to know more, so they commit and they take the time to watch the video from start to finish. Another good example is if you are running this type of ads called lead ads. They come with a form and you're asking for my details, my name, my number. Some of you will ask for more information. If I choose to fill in that form and submit it, then I am basically telling you that I am interested and I want to know more, or I need some more convincing. These are all engagement signals, by the way. Then we have another category that is I need this, I want this, sign me up. Now, under this category, you will get engagement signals such as someone clicking to download. Maybe you're pushing an ebook or a mobile application and you've given them the option to download. So if someone chooses to do that, that is an engagement signal that tells you, I need this, I want this, sign me up. Another example is if you have an e-commerce website or an e-commerce app, and I'm shopping and I choose to add to cart and I go all the way to completion and I pay for it. That is a signal to you that I actually need this and I want this right now. And finally, we have subscriptions. If someone chooses to subscribe to anything, it could be free or paid. It could be a newsletter, or maybe you have a package that someone has to pay for monthly. If I click on any button on an ad or I actually ask for that subscription, then I am giving you an engagement signal that tells you I want this and I am committing to it. Then we have the category of more people need to know about this. So these are the audience that has already been convinced. They've already either signed up or purchased or fallen in love with your content, and they want more people to know about it. So the engagement signals that fall under this category include a share. If someone clicks to share your post or your piece of content, then they want more people to know about it. Another example is a retweet if you're on Twitter, or someone chooses to give you a review on your Google business page, or somebody chooses to tag their friends on the comment section, or they share it on their stories and they tag you. So any engagement signal that allows more people to discover your content or your page or your brand in general falls under this category. Then we have the more negative side, and that's for people who have concerns, are upset, or maybe it is just not for them. So under this category, you'll get engagement signals such as someone choosing to skip your ad, or someone choosing to hide the post on the timeline. Maybe it keeps showing up too many times and they choose to hide it. That is an engagement signal that tells you either it's not for me, I'm not interested, or I have concerns, or I'm not happy about this. Another example would be if someone actually chooses to report your page. Now, for someone to get to that point, you've either said something offensive or what you're doing is wrong in their opinion. So these are engagement signals that fall under the category of not for me, I am displeased, I have concerns. Then we have the neutral category. The neutral category of engagement is where somebody could be hot or cold. It could be positive or negative. And these are engagement signals such as comments on your post or your article, or anywhere where there's a comment section. If someone chooses to post their comment, it could either be positive or negative, and that's why they fall under neutral for me. Another engagement signal is if someone chooses to DM you. So they send you a direct message. This could be on Messenger, it could be on WhatsApp, or on all the other platforms. They want to talk to you, but they don't want to do it on a public platform. Then the other engagement signal is if someone clicks to contact you. Maybe you have an option to text you on WhatsApp for business, or maybe you have a phone number and they can click on the button to call or send you an email or get directions to your physical location. All these engagement signals basically could be positive or negative. I could be calling you to complain. I could email you a good review or a negative review, or maybe it could be completely neutral. I just don't understand something and I need you to assist me. So those are the categories for me, and in each category I've given you examples of engagement signals. Now, why did I feel that it's important to break it down like this? Because a lot of times when we download our reports from the digital platforms, we view engagement at a very skewed level. We think that engagement is only a like or a reaction or a comment or a share or a post save. But according to the platforms, any interaction that someone has with you or your content, whether it's in a public platform or it's private, everything they do is an engagement. So for me, these are engagement signals because you can tell how this person is thinking based on how they chose to interact with you. So I prefer to call them engagement signals because they're actually trying to communicate with you. At the end of the day, marketing is about communication, and it goes both ways. So now that we know what engagement is, and we know the different types of engagement you can get on the different digital marketing platforms, let's talk about the different ways that you could generate better engagement on your page. This will be covered in part 2 of this video series, so make sure you look out for it and watch it till the end so that you can get these interesting tips. And thank you for your time. See you in the next video. Bye.